Hey, welcome back to another exciting episode of Real Estate Fanatics on our YouTube channel. Today, we want to kind of talk about agents' failure. 87% fail in this business. That's freaking crazy. I've never seen too many other professions that have that other than maybe Major League Baseball, professional sports, things of that nature. But today, I'm specifically going to talk about why I failed and things that you could avoid doing that I did, such that you can avoid those and not run into the same troubles that I did. However, before we begin, go ahead and click the subscribe button below and click the notifications bell, and feel free to like the video at the end if you've got any value out of it. So, why do real estate agents fail? There's a lot of reasons, but I'm going to narrow this conversation more around today of why I had some failing moments. So some of the things that I failed at was when I first got in, I was like, this is gonna be easy. Everybody likes me. Everybody knows me. I've been in this city for 20 to 30 years at the time. I hadn't been doing real estate, but I'd been doing some other professions, and I just naturally thought, I'm a likable guy. People like me. They like hanging out with me. Go out and party. We go have dinners together. Likability didn't naturally translate into we trust you with doing business on one of our most valuable assets. So kind of where I went with things was I was a little bit more of the slow roller. When I got in the business, I was probably maybe 40 years old, 39 years old, somewhere right around that mark. I was a second career guy. So what I kind of looked at was, hey, I was more of the guy that wanted to know what the hell he was doing before he actually was doing it. That's a challenge. I'm going to tell you that's a challenge going with that mindset, because a lot of times we get in this mindset of I want to be 100% comfortable before I go out and meet with a client, before I do my sales pitch, my consultation, before I go out and do contracts, things of that nature. That's dangerous, because what we find is a lot of ready, aim, ready, aim, ready, aim, but we never fire. And if you don't fire, you're never going to be successful in this business. So at some point in time, you have to be uncomfortable and just get out and do it. Yes, you need the training. Yes, you should do scripts. Yes, you should know some loose ends around the contracts and eventually know a lot more about it. But every deal is going to be different, so you're going to naturally be learning about contracts and scenarios all the time. So put that aside, get out there and lead generate. One thing I wish I would have done a little better was getting my database. I was pretty quick with that, but I should have been quicker with it, and I should have been common conversations with it a lot quicker than I was before. So I would highly, highly recommend most of your business in the early stages of your career is going to come from people that already know, like, and trust you. So get that started quickly. I know it's boring and people are like, I'm looking for the silver pill, the magic pill, right? Or the golden egg. That doesn't happen. Just get out there, get after it with your database. Some other things that I pretty well failed at was just understanding the time it was going to take to get my first deal. I mean, while our team does like over 200 units now a year, that wasn't the case. It took like 9 months to get my first deal. It was crazy. I was ready to give up and quit. So I think a lot of it was patience. I mean, I think I endured a lot for 9 months. It tested my will. I'm pretty sure that I was close to basically throwing in the towel, and then it just started happening. So for me, it wasn't a failing moment. However, because I had the support that I had, I was close to failing and quitting, and I don't quit very many things, but it's that when you go through a breakdown, a breakthrough is coming, and that's something to kind of remember as you get your business and your career started. Some other things that I learned was really getting in with good mentors right off the bat. I mean, I think the way to go these days is honestly, and I'm kind of partial to it, is teams. The teams already know what they're doing. So do you want to be part of a brokerage or an office that's got 150 to 300 people in it? It's hard to give you the care and candor and attention that you need with a brokerage that size. A team really gives you a little bit more of that smaller classroom approach. So I highly recommend exploring teams. One of the things I get is, but they take 50% of well, cool. 100% of zero is still zero. So go after it and go get a handful of deals, because that's more money you're gonna make at 50% than you do at 100% of zero. So that's the thing that always really gets me going is, I'm not paying splits. Okay, cool. Hope you get business, because that's not gonna probably be the case. So get with some teams, get with some mentors. Who you surround yourself with matters. All of those things are critical. If I was to start it all over again, I would have probably paid somebody right off the bat to be a coach. I didn't join a team right off the bat. Teams weren't really prevalent in my office. They were husband-wife teams, so I didn't really have an atmosphere around me that had a lot of teams in it back 10 years ago. However, we started one of the first larger teams in our office and we were very successful with it. We helped a lot of agents get super successful, and like I said, I would highly recommend in today's environment, that's where new agents definitely need to go. And we can have a whole nother conversation because I think there's value in experience without a doubt with experienced agents joining that model as well. Leverage, cost savings, so on and so forth. Some other things that I really failed at was failing to know how much time I was going to have to put into this business. This is not a flexible schedule business when you're first starting up. I was okay with that. I did military 10, 12-hour days. I did IBM where I was working around the globe as far as time zones go and helping support international things. So hours didn't bother me as much. Now, hours not getting paid for 9 months, that bothered me. That hurt a lot. However, the time committed, and I don't see that a lot in a lot of the agents that come in. The successful ones, I see it, but a lot of the new agents that fail out is just because they want to just do it for fun. They want to do it part-time. Yeah, this is a damn serious business. Like, you better be all in if you want to be successful. You don't just slow your way into the business and get successful. You got to be all in and get after it. I think other areas that I would say I failed in was not being out there lead generating enough. I did the typical, 5-6 month strategy. I stayed behind the scenes. I used Facebook as a lot, which eventually worked out very well. But getting that business right off the bat, if I would have had no money coming into this business, would have been a different challenge for me. I would have had to do a lot more face-to-face door knocking, a lot more cold calling, a lot more searching for instant business. That wasn't the case. I had some finances set aside. But if I were to do it again, I probably would have done more face-to-face stuff. I would have done more phone calls, things of that nature, because I would have gotten up and running faster. Other areas that I failed was really trying to learn how to run a business. I grew into that and I failed a lot in that area, but learning how to run a business, whether that's going out and getting an LLC, whether that's getting a CPA, whether that's getting coach, right? Those are things that are invaluable when you start running your business. I think the other areas that I failed at is leverage. I'm pretty smart at that. I mean, not to toot my horn, but with IBM and with the military, I kind of knew how to use leverage. I knew how to kind of structure some things. And I was pretty well in the front end of that, but honestly, I was kind of on the opposite end. Most people wait too late to get the leverage, and then it's hard to go backwards to train people and have the time to do it. I was doing things maybe a little faster than I should have. Like, you always want to lead with revenue. I had pretty good revenue when I started getting the leverage. Of course, I had my wife as my first person to work with me, so that was leverage was essentially free. I mean, there's nothing free, but theoretically, from a P&L standpoint, it didn't cost anything. So for me, I would say one of the areas I failed at probably was getting a little too quick and too fast as we grew the organization to, I think we're at 8 or 9 W-2s and maybe 7 or 8 1099ers. So anyways, maybe sometimes in those cases, I was a little too quick because I wanted to try to catch the wave on the way up instead of waiting till I got too busy and then catch up with getting leverage in. So with hindsight being 2020, we definitely failed a few times where we've hired people in and we were too far ahead of it. And like for example, I wanted to create a short sale foreclosure department like 4 years ago. We had already had an admin that was working with us on that, and she did a fantastic job with that program. However, we never got into the foreclosure short sale because the equity gains in the houses were too good. So great, I paid for something to be built. We have a great course, we have great training, we have all the contacts we need to make it happen. So it's something for the future we'll be able to use. But honestly, I probably should have waited a little bit longer to kind of tie that strategy together. So anyways, just kind of some nuggets. There's a lot of areas that I failed in for sure. This is how you kind of fail forward, figure things out. I think one of the last things I will leave it with is work-life balance. Everybody desires and dreams to be successful. However, once they get there, a lot of times the road that they took there, sometimes a rocky road, sometimes it's a dangerous road. I hear a lot of stories about alcoholics. I hear a lot of stories about suicide attempts. I hear a lot of stories about they put their health to the side. I hear a lot of stories about divorce. You know why? Because they poured so much time and energy into their business that they didn't have the right boundaries set for their families. So that's something that's really important to me, is make sure that you're treating that from the get-go, that your clients and your business don't take over your quality time with your family, with your loved ones, and things like that nature. Anyways, hope that was a little bit helpful for you today. Go ahead and put some comments down below if you're interested. Also, you can reach me on the Calendly link, calendly.com/Mike Nelson IHG. And schedule a time with me if you want to talk about anything real estate related. You're interested in EXP. Any of those conversations are completely acceptable. So hit me up and let me know. Thanks.